My name is Akhil Menon. I have secured All India rank 66 this year. So before I go to my topic, which is allocated to me, that is Indian Constitution, Basic Structure and Judiciary. So these are the topics that I'll be dealing with. Before I go into that topic, I would like to talk a bit about the examination process as such. Because when I started off this journey, that was in 2018-19, I thought that I was not going to clear this examination at any stage. Because that is the kind of belief that I had on myself. But in 2019 later, I would say that there are some changes that I did in my preparation and in my mindset which enabled me to come to this stage at this point of time. So that is the message that I have to share to each and every one of you. And towards the end, we can also have a little bit message about the kind of approach that you need to have in terms of clearing this examination. So going to the topic that is allocated to me, that is Indian Constitution, especially basic structure. When we understand how to deal basic structure as a topic for the examination, we need to understand what is the meaning of basic structure as such. Because internalizing the meaning and realizing the potential of this topic is very important in order to reflect that same kind of concept in terms of the examination paper. So I will tell you that when it comes to basic structure means the essence of the constitution as such. Essence without which constitution looks very different. That is what basic structure is all about. So that concept has to be there in your mind. When I say about basic structure, you all know that there is a seminal judgment passed by the Supreme Court. That is the Keshavananda Bharati case. So it is in this case that basic structure as a concept evolved. So in India, we can say that 24 April 1973 is significant for two reasons. One, that is the birthday of Sachin Tendulkar, who is a legend in cricket. And secondly, it was a day in which our constitution was secured from the excesses of legislature and executive. So that is why basic structure as a concept stands very relevant in our times. And we also need to understand how Supreme Court over time has applied basic structure. So that is also very relevant from the point of view of the examination, because we need to put in real-time examples in order to make the examiner believe that we know about this topic as such. So when we know about basic structure, we know that secularism forms part of basic structure because of the S.R. Bommai case. And we also have the independence of judiciary, which has come as a result of the NJAC case. So these are all part of the basic structure concept as such. But these are all good things about it. That is, it has secured the constitution from the excess of legislature, executive, on all the things. All that is good about basic structure. But we also need to know about the fallouts of this particular concept which has evolved over time. What is that fallout? Basically, when we understand this concept, it has evolved as a judicial doctrine. It has evolved as a doctrine which is very arbitrary in nature at times. So that is the greatest pitfall of basic structure doctrine. That is, it is subject to judicial interpretation. When something is subject to judicial interpretation as such, it can be vague, it can be ambiguous. One good example of that would be the NJAC judgment. We know that in the NJAC judgment, the Supreme Court has reportedly said that primacy of judiciary in appointment of judiciary is part of basic structure. That is a very extended statement. But still, it forms part of basic structure because it is a judicial pronouncement. So that is the criticism which is associated with this term called as basic structure. So that is how we need to analyze the topic. So even if it relates to a very important concept, as far as the constitution is concerned, there are two sides to it. As an aspirant, we need to keep that in mind in order to make sure, in order to convince the examiner that we are very objective in terms of our approach. So that is regarding the basic structure. That is the first topic that is allocated to me. Now I am moving to the second topic, that is the judiciary. When we speak about the judiciary, we know that that is the third organ, one of the most significant organ as far as our governance mechanism is concerned. And I should say that in the recent times, the UPSC has been very keen on asking at least 2 to 3 questions which are related to judiciary. This time we had this question about constitutional morality. How do we define it? If we don't understand the basics of judiciary as such and how the Supreme Court has interpreted various provisions in the recent times, we may not be able to appreciate this important concept called as constitutional morality. So we need to understand the approach of how judiciary has taken various topics in the recent times. So one important message that I would like to give you is about the transformative constitutional vision of the judiciary in recent times. What is transformative vision? The Supreme Court has taken upon itself the mandate that it has the responsibility to transform the society. In the words of Justice Chandrachud, in the Navadeh Johar judgment, he says that when we understand the Constitution has the responsibility of transforming a medieval society, a hierarchical society, into an egalitarian social order. So that is an important concept that the judiciary has developed over time. So the interpretation that we see in many judgments over time, that is Nafti Johar judgment, wherein decriminalization of section 377 has been done, or for that matter Joseph Chang judgment, wherein adultery has been decriminalized. We know that there is a transformative vision which is part of the judiciary. The judiciary is trying to transform the society. That is a very important concept that we need to keep in mind. And secondly, I would also like to speak about public interest litigation. Public interest litigation, which is also a very important concept, which has been asked frequently as far as the UPSC is concerned. But when it comes to public interest litigation, we have this idea that everything is good about public interest litigation, and we seldom write criticism about public interest litigation as such. But I will be focusing more on that aspect as such. That is, when it comes to PIL, PIL has been one of the culprits as far as the judicial pendency is concerned. We need to keep note of that. Secondly, there are times wherein judiciary, on the garb of judicial activism, has done judicial overreach. I will give you a very good example of that. That is in terms of giving a liquor ban in national highways. That is a classic case of judicial overreach. So these kind of instances has been a part of judiciary as such. So that is my general message as far as this particular topics are concerned. There are more to it, obviously, when it comes to these parts of the constitution. So before I end, I would also like to tell you that when it comes to the UPSC preparation, there are two things which are very important. That is, one is consistency and the other is discipline. And consistent effort, which is no matter how small it can rewrite destiny. And in my case, it did. And I feel that for each and every one of you, that happens. Thank you all.